Welcome, everybody. We are very excited for today's BadgeKit tutorial. We will give folks just a minute or two here to go ahead and get themselves logged into the GoToWebinar. And then Matthew and I will introduce ourselves. We're very much looking forward to discussing BadgeKit and what it might be able to do for you.
While we wait for everybody to come on board, if you could press mute on your line, that would be great. We'd love
It's really hard to
everybody to be able to participate and ask questions.
As Matthew mentioned, it sounds like there is quite a bit of sound on the call. If you're on, please go ahead and make sure to manually mute yourself.
you guys making like connections or
All right, and it sounds like we're approaching about 30 people. As a reminder, please do just go ahead and mute your speaker or your microphone rather, and that will give us a chance for everybody to be able to hear the presentation. We're very excited to be representing the BadgeKit team at Mozilla today. And to be able to talk about a really important software tool stack that we've been developing over the past number of months. And this is a project that came out of some important work last summer with the Chicago Summer of Learning, where we put together, a set of tools that a wide variety of issuers could use for things like designing their badge system, creating visual design for badges, and assessing those badges. And we realized that that concept really had weight for a wide range of organizations. And so we wanted to roll it out more broadly. And so what you will see today is part of a private beta that is available to organizations that are interested in taking part. Happy to provide more information on that in our Q&A. And together with Matthew, we really wanted to give a tour and answer questions that you have. I'll just quickly say I'm Emily. I'm a researcher on the OpenBadges team, and I will go ahead and turn it over to Matthew.
Sure. Thank you, Emily. My name is Matthew, and I work on the OpenBadges team at Mozilla as well, and I do user experience design. So as Emily mentioned, we're going to give you a tour of BadgeKit and review some of the main features and opportunities that come with this platform. There is a page on our GitHub repository that includes some tutorial information, and we're going to be kind of moving through that as we go through this demonstration here. So BadgeKit, what is BadgeKit? BadgeKit is a set of tools that is designed to help you with badging, and it covers quite a few different aspects of that. It includes the visual design of a badge, the metadata building of a badge. It also includes the ability to receive applications and assess badge applications. And it also gives you the capacity to issue badges in a few different ways. BadgeKit also introduces a few capacities that are new, as far as I know, in the badging world. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here on the platform. And as you'll notice, BadgeKit, at this time at least, requires the use of Persona to log in. And the first thing that you'll see when you log into BadgeKit is we have a series of templates presented. to the user. So templates is a new idea that we're introducing that are designed to help you get up and running more quickly with your badges and to also guide you through the badge creation process. So you see we've got some test badges in here, but then we also have some more serious badges. So I'll take a quick look at one of them here. So this is a template that was designed to sort of detail out some of the descriptions that you might give to a potential earner or a description you might give to a consumer, a potential employer. You also see the criteria that's been set on this particular badge template. I'll come back here to the first screen. So we have a series of templates in this space which you can either view as I just did, or you can use them. And using a template, what that does is it launches a new badge draft. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So by clicking that button, I've basically just copied all the information that's within the template and created a new draft badge that we can now edit, adjust for our particular needs, and then publish. I'm going to jump back here to the tutorial, and I'm going to scroll down past login. We already did that. And you'll see we have a few different sections here under badges where we've got templates, drafts. We've also got published badges and archived badges. Here's a little diagram that sort of gets at the flow between these different states of badges. So you see we've got a template that becomes a draft. A draft is then published. Once a badge is published, it can then be awarded to somebody, and it can be used to assert that that person earned it. A badge can also be archived. Once it's archived, nobody new can be awarded that badge, but it still is present to assert that somebody has actually earned that previously. So here, as I discussed, is a description of templates and drafts. So coming back to the application here, all of your badges, as you're working on this material and editing the content, it continues to auto-save. I'm going to change the title of this one here. We'll see that this is saved. Click the exit button. And now you see here back in the directory, we've got the participation copy, the copy of the template that I just created. So we've got this space for draft badges that allows you to collaborate with your colleagues to work over time to develop the criteria in a sophisticated way before you actually end up publishing that badge. You can jump back in to edit this badge, and you can see we've got a few different sections of information that you can add. So we've got descriptions for the potential earners and the consumers, as I mentioned before. Tags so that we can make this badge more easy to find later. We've also got a handful of options available. Some of these options are already implemented. Some of them are features that are coming soon, currently under testing. So we have the opportunity to limit how a badge is issued. We're looking into badge licensing, so you can share this badge with other organizations. And we have claim codes, which is a way to issue a badge to a group of people. So you might have an event, you might put in a claim code for that event, 14, and then people are able to then use that.
And really quickly, just as very quickly as Matthew is putting in a claim code, it sounds like someone is typing, and I want to just quickly ask if we can all mute our lines. Matthew, please continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure. Thanks, Emily. So I've typed in a claim code here, which I could then use to have a large group of people put that claim code in a form and then have that badge issued to them. As we'll see a little bit later on, there's a few different ways to issue a badge. Jumping on over to the criteria section, we have introduced the capacity to kind of separate out the criteria that you're adding to a badge, and to also add a note so that when a mentor or somebody is reviewing the badge application later, there can be a note here that speaks directly to them, but doesn't necessarily get displayed to the potential earners. And another feature that's currently being worked on is the capacity to submit evidence that's connected with an individual criterion rather than just in general. You can also link to an external rubric. So you might have a PDF that's on your site somewhere else for mentors and assessors that sort of will also help guide them through this review process. Milestones, these are, a lot of this has been designed and is currently under testing. But the idea of a milestone badge is to give earners a way to level up so that they might earn a series of badges, which are then trigger a milestone badge to recognize, you know, a higher level of learning. And lastly, we've got the badge visuals. And here we have a tool which you can see is still under development, but it allows you, the purpose of this tool is to give BadgeKit users a simple means to develop badge visuals. So without any previous design skills, you're able to quickly develop a badge visual. Obviously, as we improve this feature, the badge preview that you see on the side here will be much more attractive. But also built into BadgeKit is the capacity to upload your own images. So you might create an image in Illustrator if you do have a designer on hand, so that you can use that image instead. So that sort of covers the drafting of a badge process. And I'll exit again back to the directory. I'm going to jump over to the tutorial just to see where we're at. Okay, so coming back over here, we'll take a look at the published badges. Again, we're looking at a just sort of a test bed that we use for developing this product. So we see some fake badges here. These are not actual real badges out in the wild. But a couple of features here that I'd like to show you. You've got the capacity to sort your badges by name, by the number of applications that are up against them, how many have been awarded, when they were created. You can view the badge as we did before when we looked at the template. Or you can take a number of actions on that badge. So these actions include issuing the badge by email. So you could issue directly to an email address. Issue by claim code. As we discussed before, you can create a single claim code for a large group of people. You can also create a series of claim codes, say for a workshop that meets in person. You can create a series of random claim codes, and then you can hand those out to individuals as they exit at the end of the workshop after they've demonstrated that they've earned the badge. You can copy this badge. So you might decide next year you're going to create a new version of this badge, and so or a related badge. So you might copy that badge so you can, again, get quickly started on the new badge design. And you can archive the badge. So an archived badge, as I mentioned before, is just like any other badge, but it's not still available for earning. So we've gone through much of this editing of the badge drafts. I'm just going to scroll down through the tutorial here. You'll also find in BadgeKit that there's the beginning of some very extensive help documentation. So at the top of this help section, we list all the different places where people connect, whether it's our Google group or the email addresses that we've got on Twitter and whatnot. We've got the tutorial I've been scrolling through. We've got deeper API introduction material and the glossary just to sort of introduce people to some of the terms. And then you can see there's a lot of frequently asked questions that we're building up in this space as well. Applications, as I mentioned, so BadgeKit will receive applications. The application forms will actually be hosted on the issuing organization's website and will connect to BadgeKit via the API. So earners of your badges won't actually come to BadgeKit itself. BadgeKit serves as your backend administrative interface. But once an application is submitted, that will appear in BadgeKit as a pending application. And I don't have those screens to show here. Let me see what's in this space here. That's not implemented in this test site here. But as I mentioned before, when we were editing the badge, you'll have the capacity to review the submission's evidence, and you also have reference of the original criteria, so you can see side by side what's expected by the badge and what the earner has demonstrated. You'll have the capacity to review each of those bits and pieces, and then submit a reply to the person who has applied. And we've set it up so that you've got a handful of forms that sort of kind of guide you through the review process, so that we're giving higher quality feedback to the person, whether or not they've actually earned the badge or not. We're giving specific feedback. Some other features currently under development is the ability to create more of a profile for the organization and for the staff members who use this platform. A lot of these features are new ideas still, that will require quite a bit of testing, but the idea is to build more opportunities for sharing between organizations, so that one organization might design a template that another set of organizations actually put to use. So I think that covers all the basic functionality that I wanted to go over. Emily, did you notice any gaps during this conversation?
So I didn't notice gaps. There is one thing that I'll quickly just say based on a few questions that we've gotten, which is if you are looking to experience the interface that Matthew is showing, go ahead and submit your information at badgekit.org. The experience that we're walking through today is part of a private beta, and the team is currently reviewing submissions to participate in the private beta. So you can think of today as a little bit of a sneak peek into the interface that some of those beta users will be able to access. And I'm just reviewing to see if there are any additional questions at the moment. I'll quickly also see if anyone wants to unmute and ask a question directly. All right. While we wait to see if there are any additional questions, one quick note that I'll make is just that we're really excited for the launch of this tool, and particularly to see how it's used by the organizations that are involved in the beta testing, really to understand how it meets their organization's needs, and how it potentially helps with distributed issuing of badges. But very eager to see if people have feedback or questions, even if it's on a set of features you'd like to see built into a tool like this. Matthew and I are open ears and would love to hear your thoughts.
Hey there, I have a question.
Sure, go, and do you mind just quickly introducing yourself?
Sure, my name is Garish Gupta. I run a site called Project Ed. It's for young filmmakers, and so we're interested in badges related to creativity and filmmaking. So I have a question about how the earner experiences or sees their badges, or realistically how BadgeKit would communicate with the issuer's website.
Sure, that's a great question. So as I mentioned before, BadgeKit at this stage is really designed to serve the issuing organization as an administrative panel. What will happen is you'll use the API in order to display your badges on your own website. So you'll be given a snippet of code that will automatically grab all the different badges that you've got published and display those. Within the descriptions of your badges, as you see, as I've got up on the screen here, you'll describe to the potential earner where they would go to get started. So for some of you, that might happen in person in a workshop. For others of you, it might happen through your website or a YouTube video. But so your description will point people to where they need to go to do the learning and the earning. And then at the other end of it, they will either apply to you in person or through whatever means you've got built into your programs, or they'll apply through a form that's on your website that will again use the API to let BadgeKit know that this application has been made. So then you'll come to BadgeKit, but the earner won't ever come to BadgeKit, but you'll go there to review the application. Once that review process is finished, if you issue the badge to them, they'll receive an email that lets them know good news, and then they'll have the opportunity to push that badge to their backpack. So Backpack is another tool that Mozilla has built, and that's for the earner. Backpack is where the earners store their badges, they can organize them, and we're working on new features this spring so that they can have more capacity to share those badges in social media and whatnot. Does that answer your question?
Sort of, I think, and so then so for example, we have user profiles on our site. Would we be able to display the badges that users earned on their own profile on our website?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, the display of an earner's badge would happen via Backpack. The API definitely has the capacity to do those kinds of things, but that would require some programming on your end to set that up. And part of the reason for that is, we take the privacy of the earner very seriously. So we want to ultimately give them control as to how their badges are displayed.
So all earners have to have a Backpack account as well.
This is Sunny, by the way. All earners do not necessarily have to have a backpack. The backpack does provide certain set of features that allows them to do certain things. They don't need to have a backpack if they don't want to, or they don't need to set it up. We created the backpack because we think that it's a great way in which an earner could aggregate all the badges that they're earning across different organizations and environment, see them all in one place, be able to, as Matthew mentioned, figure out how they want to showcase those badges or curate how those are visibly displayed externally. But again, it is not a requirement by any means. And one thing that I'd like to add with regards to the backpack that Matthew mentioned is, one thing that Matthew is working on is the idea of a federated backpack, and that's basically right now, because Mozilla has the lone reference implementation of what a backpack is, a lot of folks are asking us for additional features and all that stuff that can make the backpack even more powerful, but we have largely been the bottleneck. And if we create the specifications for federation, enabling other folks to stand up their own instances of their backpack and customize their backpack to fulfill the unique needs of their own respective communities, meanwhile having these backpacks be able to communicate within a larger networked system, we think that would be much more beneficial to both issuing organizations who want to host their own backpack and want to develop features and customize features for their own users, as well as earners. So that's something that we're working on. We are sketching out how that might look like right now, and we're going to have an alpha or a beta version of the federated backpack specification available in the coming months.
Mm-hmm. I would also add to that, because we're using the OpenBadges specification, all of the the earners badges are portable. So as Sunny mentioned, we plan to give people more ways to be able to move these badges around more easily. But one thing that an earner is able to do is to download their badge and display that badge wherever they want to. And baked into the image file is the metadata that points back to the original issuing organization.
And this is Emily. That just goes back to what Matthew was saying earlier about really giving the earner control of the way that their badges are displayed as well as understood. So really thinking about, you know, the earner as the curator of the badges that they've earned. And as long as we've got Sunny on the line, I want to quickly, and Sunny is our product lead, just wanted to run through a couple of questions that came through on GoToWebinar. And the first is about how, if at all, BadgeKit works with FERPA and some of the U.S. Department of Education standards around, you know, the showing of student data on websites, and a question about if there's a workaround for these considerations in the beta version of BadgeKit.
So that's a really great question, and we built BadgeKit with that in mind. As Emily touched upon when we kicked off this webinar, BadgeKit is largely an evolution of the work that we did with the City of Chicago and the Chicago Summer of Learning Initiative. So being able to support under 13 users dealing with data privacy issues with regards to youth was very front of mind when we were building this. So that's why for instance, we don't have a front end experience. It is on the issuers to have their own front end experiences, and the information that they need is being pulled in through our APIs. We designed this so that we don't hold any sensitive data. It's on the issuer side to kind of sort out the permissions with their community of learners or the parents of their community of learners. But on the BadgeKit side, we do not hold on to any sensitive data. We are it's largely up to the issuers to design that experience and take care of all those necessary permissions on their side.
Great, thank you, Sunny. An additional question that came through from one of the participants is about Tin Can API integration.
That is a really great question. There are several working groups actually. Tin Can API is a conversation we've been in several conversations with those folks. They've actually changed their name, and now they're calling it the Experience API or XAPI. There are working groups around how we can utilize Tin Can or Experience API to kind of help either capture criteria information or even evidence information. No specifications are actually available yet, but there are working groups trying to figure out how where the exact cross sections are between OpenBadges standard and XAPI.
Great, thank you, Sunny. And there are a handful of other questions that I'll quickly just speak to pretty briefly. Matthew and Sunny, if you have additional thoughts as I review these, please by all means jump in. One of the questions, what advantages would you say BadgeKit offers over other badge design and issuing tools like the WordPress plugin and Moodle? This is a fantastic question, and as you know, all of the tools that Mozilla develops are intended to be complements to the space as opposed to competitors with other tools. One thing that we learned from the Chicago Summer of Learning and a few programs that have followed it, including Connected Educators Month, is really the idea that putting a bunch of tools together and making them easily accessible to educators in a single place can be really beneficial as far as removing any barriers to entry. And so one of the core ideas with BadgeKit is taking these central functions from badge system design and beyond, and really putting them in a central place where a number of different people from that team are able to issue those badges together. So the idea of a comprehensive and collective sort of hub where people can come to do the things that they need. And we imagine that BadgeKit tools can be used in conjunction with other tools. So you may decide you really like the BadgeKit assessment tool, but you have your own visual tool or even a graphic designer. And so you would not necessarily use that piece. You can, by all means, pick and choose the components that work for you. Another question. Can you indicate when this will be ready for public beta? So we are looking to roll out additional features in the coming months. And by the end of this year, we are hoping to be out of public beta. But that is really the public beta is what we're really looking at, our sort of our short-term horizon for the rest of this year. And I don't mean to run through these questions, but I do just want to hear if people have additional questions they want to share audibly. So I'll just read through the last 2 or 3 that people have typed in. I'm wondering about tracking. Can administrators see how many badges have been issued and or claimed over time? So this is definitely something that we heard from badge issuers. Again, going back to the idea of having tools living in one place is the idea of having a lot of visibility into which issues or which badges have been claimed by various individuals who have earned those badges. So that is definitely a piece of this. I'm not sure if there's anything more that Sunny or Matthew would want to share on that front.
We do have, Matthew has definitely been thinking about what the user experience is for the issuing organization. So there are some dashboard sketches that we are, Matthew has designed, thinking about exactly those things, like what are the interesting metrics for an issuer that they would like to know about the usage of their badges. Those are not available right now. We definitely have the sketches, and we're thinking about how to prioritize implementation of some of those. And I'll let Matthew chime in if you'd like to add further.
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to have a handful of different views that allow you to browse, both current applications and previously awarded badges. And as Sunny mentioned, I don't have that to show you implemented right now, but I can tell you that one of the things that we've looked to do is to make a more user-centered focus, so that you're not just viewing all your badges and knowing that a bunch of different email addresses have applications against them or were awarded them before, but you can sort by the people as well and see what badges they've have gathered over time.
Excellent, thank you. One additional question that came from a participant: will Mozilla be working with a cohort of nonprofits to pilot this program? You took the words right out of our mouths on that one. For the initiative that we're undertaking through the rest of this year, the Cities of Learning project, we're working with the Digital Youth Network in Chicago, which was one of the original partners as part of the Chicago Summer of Learning, as well as Badge Alliance, which will be OpenBadges alums who are really working very seriously on the partnerships and ecosystem side of the badges universe. And it's worth reiterating that a lot of these tools and the features that you see built into BadgeKit, even during this brief tour, really were based on a lot of feedback that we got from people who have used the tools that we've built in the past. So everything that you see has been pretty rigorously user tested and originated from feedback that we heard from people who were actually issuing badges day in and day out, whether as part of a summer program or beyond. And so want to just quickly, many of them are not on this call, but want to quickly just give a head nod to those individuals who have really informed the way that the product looks and feels today. And I believe that there is just one more question currently. Is it currently possible for an organization to set up and host their own backpack? So this goes to the Backpack Federation that Matthew's working on, that Sunny mentioned. I'm not sure that we need to share anything else on that, but please unmute and let us know if anything in regards to that or any of the other topics have been unclear.
Hi there, it's Clint. I asked that question about the hosting and setting up their own backpack organizations, and I found the code on GitHub, and I'm just wondering, the code that has been released on GitHub for BadgeKit, does that include the backpack code that's been released on GitHub as well, or are those two separate projects?
It's a separate project.
Okay.
They're not two separate yet. I mean, they're all open badges, but
right,
yes, the repo, yes. Yep.
They're separate repositories, but built to talk to each other via the API.
So if we wanted to try to set this up on our own servers, we would need to download both to have the full functionality end-to-end OBI system.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
And there will be a tech panel. The next tech panel, I believe we're going to walk through how to host the BadgeKit on your own servers. And the information for that, do you have the information for that? If not, let me find it for you. Please, Emily, go ahead. I'll find the information of when that next tech panel is.
Absolutely. And if you have a chance to join those tech panels, they're a lot of fun, very informal and informative. I believe that there was someone, it's Matthias or Matthias, who had a question they wanted to ask. And you may be double muted. Right. As we wait to see if there are any audible questions, Cindy was able to find for us the time for the OpenBadges tech panels are on the second Wednesday of every month. So the next panel actually will.
Oh wait, it says March. Please stand by. I don't think this date is correct because March 12th is today. Sorry about that.
Not to worry at all. Do we have any other questions in the meantime? We know that today is just a starting glance. And as I mentioned, we are reviewing submissions to badgekit.org for organizations interested in taking part in the private beta. But if there are other questions or topics, or even, hey, here's a feature I'd love to see, you know, Matthew's work on the user interface, any considerations that you have, now is a great time to ask.
I think I managed to activate my microphone. Can you guys hear me?
We can, go ahead.
Hello? Cool.
Yes, we
so
can hear you.
my name is Matias. I'm from Argentina. Cool. So I'm leading this project called Bike Storming, which is a civic app to grow urban cycling in cities. And I was wondering if you guys know about organizations who have crowdsourcing experiences, like for example,
Your connection is breaking up, unfortunately.
Oh, Matthias, sorry about that.
Reward. Most of the conversation is around education.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's any way you might be able to type your question. I got something to the extent of
okay.
Bike storming.
So were you able to? Okay, we'll try.
If you don't mind typing it in, I'll make sure that we capture it correctly and are able to respond to the full question.
Yeah, I'm betting that Carla in the research call would be the best answer for this question, though.
And I'm waiting for that question to come in. If the research and badge system design calls, which Matthew just mentioned, are of interest, those take place on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that's, I believe, 4 GMT. And it looks like we're getting Matthias's question. Just a moment.
Real quickly, the tech panel is currently in the process of being scheduled, the next one. So in our follow-up email to all the participants of today's training session, we will include information about the next tech panel. Sorry about that.
And I'll quickly just see, we may not end up going the full hour, but did want to see if there were any other questions or comments in the meantime.
So I tried writing them, but it just doesn't seem to get there. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Matthias, if you want to go ahead and include your email, we'll make sure to get back to you directly.
Cool. Will do.
And do stay tuned for additional information about BadgeKit and the work that that we and the Badge Alliance and DYN are doing in this space. Is all publicly available. We very much work in the open, and do want to invite you to join the research calls followed by the community calls immediately on Wednesdays. Just very, very thrilled about the launch of BadgeKit, and can't wait to have a wide variety of organizations and individuals involved. And a great place to reach us if you are looking for more information or just have questions on resources is the email address badges@mozillafoundation.org. That's badges@mozillafoundation.org. Very happy to answer questions. Again, the site to go to submit your organization's name to be considered for the private beta is badgekit.org. That's badgekit.org. So I want to thank Sunny, Matthew, and Meg for their help today. And we very much look forward to hearing from you all soon. Have a wonderful day and be well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.